All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the Q&A session today. Excited to get a chance to talk to you guys directly. And to kick things off, before we jump into the question and answer sessions, I'd love for some people to kind of share, some of your biggest takeaways, some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far throughout the week. So does anybody want to share some of their biggest aha moments so far? Don't be shy. All right, well, we can just jump into the Q&A. So does anyone have some questions that they want to ask to start off? And what you can do, you can raise your hand. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you should see an option to raise your hand, or you can actually raise your hand. So either way, and then we can unmute you. All right, Charisse.
Hello.
How are you? Am I pronouncing it right? Is it Charisse?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
hi,
you bet.
hello.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Am I coming through loud enough?
Yep, hear you perfect.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm really at a crossroads. I've done the 5-day abundance workshop. I've listened to, I think, almost everything. And I've participated. I didn't do all of the work as of yet, but I've done a lot of the work, and I intend to do
Good.
all of it. But I feel as though I'm at a crossroads as far as how I proceed with my career. I feel like age is a factor for me, and I'm just not loving, like, I don't see myself moving forward at what I'm doing currently, and I need to take a shift. And I'm hesitant as far as which direction do I go. So currently, what I've been doing for many decades is I'm an eco-conscious interior designer, which
Okay.
I spent all my time, energy, and finances investing in. But I don't foresee myself being in people's homes anymore to redo them. Not that I don't love it, it's just that it takes all of my time, and that's all I think about. And that's not where I want to go. And I feel as though I'm limited financially as well. So I'm at the crossroads of thinking, so what do I do? Do I create online courses, which I've tried to do for the past couple of years, but I can't seem to get past it. I've invested money in it, and I haven't manifested it. And then over here, I'm an author of several books. And that was my big aha moment when I actually sat back and watched the trailer. And I literally had tears streaming from my eyes that it was so hard and inconceivable for me to do. And I did it. And then, so that was my big aha moment with everything. But I love to create and I love to design. So I'm thinking, do I go in the direction of creating surface pattern designs where it's a new field for me? Or do I go in the direction of creating like the courses and some products where it's something that I know? So how do you know when you kind of are beginning all over again, or am I running away from diving into the hard work?
Well, I don't think you're ever starting over again, right? Because no matter what you do, like with your business currently, you've developed a certain level of awareness that's allowed you to create the results that you've got today. That never leaves. Even if you go into something totally different, that awareness carries over with you. Because it's a common thing I hear from people that have been business owners or done different things, and maybe they went out of business, or they're just looking to make a change, and they're saying, gosh, this was so difficult. I just don't know that I have the energy to start all over again. And the truth is you're not, because you've developed a certain level of awareness in doing whatever it is that you've done and whatever you've created, and that will carry on over with you. Okay. Now, I would tell you the most important question that I'd be asking yourself is, first and foremost, how do you want to be living? Okay, you can do whatever you want to do. There's no end to the amount of opportunity out there, right? You can do whatever you choose to do. But I think if you get so locked into the vision of how you want to be living, meaning, do you want to travel more? Do you want to, how do you want to spend your days? Do you want to work one day a week? figure out how much you want to be earning. So you kind of figure out this perfect vision for how you want to be living your life. Not necessarily what you're doing yet. You can determine that once you get clear on what you want to see for yourself. Because the truth is, you can tailor any of those things to match the way you want to live, right? So I love doing what I do, but the way I do what I do is matched, it's built to match the lifestyle that I want to live. So I don't personally want to go travel and do workshops and seminars. That's not what I want, right? So everything that I've done, I've built my business to match how I do want to be living. So do you have like a clear vision for your life, like how you want to be spending your time? Like, do you have that?
I do. I really do. I don't want to have, I mean, my whole, like everything is about not having overwhelm in your life and really having order and inner joy and motivation, inspiration. So I'm all about that. And it's ingrained in me. And I love that. Going against the grain doesn't make me feel good. So I want to be able to work, but I also want to be able to play. And I want to, like, I have lots of grandbabies and children, and I want to, be actively involved in that, but yet I want to be able to make income and love what I'm doing and share it with the world to help them so that they in turn can grow as well.
Got it. And that's what you start with, right? And you start to work backwards from that. Because I'm assuming, like, with what you're doing, like how you're structured right now, is it 1-to-1? So you have to go in there, you meet with the clients, right?
That's correct.
So think about it like this, because like our consultants, for example, because they're in a similar situation. We have some consultants that do 1-to-1 coaching. We have, a lot of people that do group coaching, and there's no right or wrong way. It's what's going to match how you want to live, because, like, let's say a consultant wants to earn 7 figures, they want to earn $1 million a year. Well, chances of doing 1-to-1 coaching are not very high because you're capped. You're always going to be limited. So then we know, okay, we're going to have to build this consultancy business doing a one-to-many kind of approach. So then we can tailor it and develop the executable plan to match that vision. So it sounds like you're pretty clear on the vision. I would just ask yourself, whatever you get into, is that going to match the vision? Is it going to allow you to do the things that you want to do? Okay, because a lot of times people will say things like, I want to go travel the world. I want freedom, and a lot of the times the ideas that they want to get into, the businesses, they go to what they know. So let's say they came from the restaurant industry. They say, well, I'm going to open up my own restaurant. Well, if you're doing a brick and mortar, the opportunity to travel and live that freedom lifestyle is not very high. So again, whatever direction you decide to go into, it's just going to match the vision. See, because I think, even though you said that you've worked before to create the online programs before in the past and it didn't work out, don't carry that into the future. Like, the past is dead, right? I'm telling you, it's not hard. A lot of the times it really is just more our mindset that pulls us back, the comfort, the safety, because that anxiety, the worries, the doubts, the fears, those always bring us back to that safety point. And it's what we've been studying all week. We just got to learn to catch ourselves in an instant when you find yourself doing that, and then bring yourself back to the goal. Just get back focused on what you're doing. So, I think Arash had mentioned it this week. The reason why you want that has got to be stronger than the excuses that your paradigm is going to give you.
Right. Correct.
Does that make sense?
Completely makes sense. Yes. So I guess I just need to really define more and work on this a little bit further, more in depth, as far as really which direction do I want to go? Is it with online courses in the field that I know so well? Or would it be like a Sandy Gallagher who said, I need to go from what I've done and what I have done for 22 years and go over here to create this. So mine is kind of similar. Like, do I continue on this pathway, or do I go over here and start creating with, creating art and drawings and things like that for surface designs to get those on products all over the world? Like, that's where I am.
I think I am such a big believer, the key to enjoyment and energy and life is creation, right? So I think even if you love what you do, but you're doing it for a long time and you haven't switched it up, you're going to get burnt out, right? So I think if you can find ways to make it, create and make this exciting for you to match, again, the vision for how you want to be living, I think you'll be in a good place, because
Thank you.
I think you're a lot farther ahead than you think you are. I'm telling you, like using the books and everything that you've already got, those are phenomenal marketing tools. And to create like online programs. Yeah, good. There you go.
Years.
Yeah. Because I mean, even Bob's, You Were Born Rich. I mean, that book is probably earned PGI hundreds of millions of dollars. And, not through the sales of the book. It's a phenomenal marketing tool, right? It builds instant credibility. So I think you got a lot of things already in place. It's just, getting some direction on how to put all these pieces together to go create what you want.
So do you believe that the inner circle would be something advantageous for me?
100%. It's my favorite program as far as the teachings and the structure of it that we do here. Arash alluded to it a little bit. It's unlike anything that people will find on YouTube. This isn't stuff we're out there teaching and sharing. This is where we're really diving in deep to this stuff, and more importantly, diving in deep to you, and getting you to see some of the things that are holding you back, and then breaking you through it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help and your time.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Of course. You're welcome. And we can schedule some one-on-one time too later on if you want to find out more about the inner circle. Okay.
That would be very nice. Thank you.
You bet. All right. So let's see, Diana. So let me unmute you, or ask you to unmute yourself.
Okay.
How are you?
Hear me? I'm just going to go video. Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's so good to be here, and I'm happy that you're taking questions. So there's a couple things, but what I've listened to all the trainings, the last ones, this one's, the law of compensation. I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Cool.
So every time I hear it, I get so triggered, because I work with women over 40 going through the midlife change, what they eat, stress reduction, balance hormones, all that. And I'm really, really good at it. And women say I changed their lives. I'm amazing. I share tons of information in my free Facebook group, over 800 videos on YouTube. I have never been able to support myself over years and years. Now, and so when I hear this, the amount, what you do, how valuable it is, how hard it is to replace you, and how much you give. I do so much, and I haven't given up. I work part-time. That's where I am now. But I mean, I've been working on my paradigm and my beliefs, but it's like, I want to yell at that. That's not true for everybody. Someone can give tons of information and tons of themselves and give so much and be so good at it and not get, and so I just get like so upset.
But when we talk about that though, like here's the thing. So it's the law of compensation, for those of you who haven't heard, you're always paid in direct ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty in replacing you. So the need for what you do, obviously there's going to be a huge market for what you do, and you've narrowed it down. So it's going to be easier to market for your ability to do it. Okay, so you might have and provide a bunch of value, a bunch of service, a bunch of things to help people, but your ability to do it goes a lot deeper than that, right? Like going back to like our consultants, for example, it's not just the best teachers are the ones that do the best in this business. It's the ones that are really good at marketing. It's the ones that are good at sales. It's the ones that are good at leadership. So your ability to do it goes deeper than just providing good value, right? It's the other part of this, and I'm telling you, it can be the smallest thing that makes the biggest difference in your business. Like I see this every day, where it can be one little thing. Like I've worked with some of the consultants just on one thing in their presentation, where they change that, they go from earning nothing to 50,000 in a month instantly, right? By changing one little thing. Because again, sometimes we just don't see what's blocking us. We don't see what's holding us back. And it doesn't mean that you don't have great content, you don't have the ability, you can, in my opinion, I think we all have the ability to help people, everyone, right? Because I think we all can see what they don't see. Because again, everything is subconscious. So we can see people's blind spots that they don't see. So I think it could be a real small thing that you're missing that can really help you take this business to the next level.
Oh, so when you said that, like, I wish you guys would put that on your video, and hopefully you guys will next time, because I think there's probably a lot of people who don't understand. I had no idea you meant marketing. Like literally, it's like, if you're good at what you do, being good at what you do to me means sharing, like being able to help women with what I help them with.
Right.
That's what it means. being good at what I do, right? I wasn't thinking. And I know marketing's my weak spot because I just want to do what I do good.
Yeah.
I am not good at, I'm like, I don't market that well because it's like I get caught up in what words to say. I get all confused. I get flustered. I get irritated. Then that totally changes my mood. And I'm like, I don't want to be in this state of being and mind.
Right.
So I just do what I do best. And that is helping the women. So I do amazing in my groups, but I've stayed so small because it's like, as soon as the marketing thing comes up, I'm either like, I don't want to be forced to market like that. That looks cheesy. I
Mhm.
want to be me. And then I'm like, but I don't really know how to. Yeah. So I get very confused in that, but I just want when you guys have explained law of compensation, I myself, maybe other people did not get that. So that's a really, really good, important thing to add. I love that, is like, yeah, in all aspects.
It's all aspects. Because if you think about it, like I'm a big sports fan. I love watching sports and like I love football, and if you think about like the quarterback position, it's not necessarily the people with the most talent are the most successful quarterbacks, because there's a lot of other components that go into being successful at that. Right. You got to be a phenomenal leader. You got to be able to good to see, what are the other schemes that are going on and change your plans quickly. So there's a lot of different little moving parts. And it's kind of going back to what I was saying about our consultants, like the ones that are doing the 7-8 figure incomes aren't necessarily, they're good teachers. You can't be doing 7-8 figures if you're not good at what you do. But there's other components to it, right? It's not just the best teachers. It's really understanding and becoming an expert at all different aspects of the business, or being good at understanding what are your weaknesses and finding people to fill that role. So you can outsource for marketing. You can find people to fill that role and fill that gap, but again, I think in any business, like you got to understand the business mechanics. And I think sales and marketing is critical. And I know a lot of people have resistance to sales. I did, and Bob, I'll never forget this. I had had a really good conversation with Bob about this when I decided to get into this and start teaching this. And, my background was in IT. So I'm very analytical, very logic driven. I didn't really see myself as a salesperson. And, so I had a lot of resistance to it. And there's a great book. If you do have resistance, it's called Zero Resistance Selling by Maxwell Maltz. It's the same guy that wrote Psycho-Cybernetics. I think everybody should get that book. But he just said to me, he said, look, do you believe in what you do? And I said, yeah, because this material changed my life. This changed everything for me. So I know this works. But like I said, I had a lot of resistance to sales and selling. And he just said to me, he said, if you believe in what you do, and he said, you have the ability to help somebody. So for you, if you have the ability to help these women, right now you're hurting them by not getting these clients. You're not helping anybody. I don't care how much free stuff, right? Because, and I know this might sound terrible, but even during these 5-day events, I know like they're impactful. They create, they get people to see a lot of things that they don't see. But I also know a lot of people aren't going to make huge long-term changes if they don't make a decision and get some direction. Like I just know that, because we just keep coming back thinking we're missing something. And the truth is you're not missing anything. You've already got it. It's there. But it's, again, we need some help to bring this out. Just like for you and your service, you have something that these women need, right? But if you're really here to help them and you really want to do that, you got to get good at the parts that you need to get good at to be able to help them. So I hope that helps.
Yes. And I've hired tons of coaches, but it's never been for marketing. So
yeah.
Spent, 70,000 or something. But also, when I think about my goals now or what I want to achieve, it all is personal. Like maybe I've just lost belief in that my business can grow. And so I don't even it's so weird. So that
you got to let the past go. Right. You just got to let it go. It is what it is. Trust me, I always tell people commitment is a renewable resource. So if this is really what you want to do, you have the passion and the drive to do it, you got to let all that stuff go in the past, right? You can't control what happened in the past. You just start from wherever you are and whatever you got today, and you just make that decision and you act, right? Because like I said, it can be the smallest thing that changes everything right away.
Yeah, I can sell. I love selling and I have no
Good.
problem. And I don't have a problem if someone doesn't buy. Like I literally will ask for the sale all the time, but I don't get
Good.
many buyers. And I think I'm also, because I don't explain it. Like I feel like just saying to them, you're going to love this program. It's going to change your life. It's amazing. Buy it. Like I don't have the lines. I don't have the words. There's just like, I think it's a block, right? I just get like, I don't know what to say about it.
See,
I
I
don't know
think
what to write.
like I think like the sales and marketing side of it too, like you got to get like some direction on the sales side of it, you know, because I'm telling you, like having a sales process that you know works is so important. Because again, it's like we have it in our minds, we know we can help them, but if we can't
Yeah.
get them to get that, like
Yes.
we're not helping them. Right? It really is, and I'm telling you, it's not hard. It's just sometimes we just don't see it, so we just need the right direction.
Yeah, I don't understand how that aspect works. Like, do you guys have any programs like that or?
Well, I mean, the only thing we have is really the consultancy where we get into the marketing and sales side of it. You know, that's for coaches, right? It's for people that want to do what we're doing. You know, so I mean, you can definitely tie in what we're doing with what you want to do because you can niche down that market for sure. But yeah, I mean, you know, look, I think this is why our consultants do as well as they do, is because, you know, to be a great coach, like I said, no certification is going to give that to you. You got to understand all the fundamentals, the marketing, the sales, presentations, all the aspects of it. And I think I do believe we have some of the best teachings in the world, but I think the reasons why our consultants put up the numbers and the results they do is because of the direction. We're showing them what to do.
All of it. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, EJ.
Yes, so in listening to Diana, I was reminded that law of the compensation, probably sometimes I worry about the part of being good enough at whatever I'm doing. And I don't know if it would apply at all to her, but definitely for myself, the idea Bob talked about of our paradigm or self-image having a limit of what we can make. Like if I'm used to I've been making about the same amount for the last 20 years and I can't break that ceiling. So Bob says it's like in our subconscious, we have a thermostat set to that amount of money. And no matter what we do, we think we're great at what we do, but we can't get beyond it. So that's maybe been an ongoing issue for me. And I couldn't break in earlier, but for takeaways, I was glad to have a reminder about Sandy Gallagher. They showed a clip where she was talking about the every day do the gratitude list, ask Spirit for a guidance for the day, and then send love to people not feeling happy with at the moment. So that's my takeaway, and that's about all I have for right now.
No, that's it. You know, because that's the gratitude gets you hooked up, right? I mean, it really does. It gets you in a good place mentally. It's a phenomenal exercise, like it really is. But you know, to your point, you know, well, how do you break that pattern? How do you get out of that place where you keep seeing those same results? And you know, personally, I don't think any amount of study will ever do that. None. I really believe it's always going to be in the uncomfortable action. You know, it's like we got to do the things. And you know, I'm a prime example of this, EJ. You know, prior to this, like I was saying, my background, I worked in IT for like 15 years. And, you know, for me, I never really enjoyed my work. You know, it was more what I knew to do, you know, and every 2 to 3 years, I would leave a company and go to another company thinking, oh, this is a better opportunity over there. And I would always find myself in the same situation, like the same amount of money, may go up a little, may go down a little, but it was always in that same range.
Right.
And, you know, there was other people in the same role that were making a heck of a lot more money than me. And I was just stuck in this place for so long. And I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. Like I really couldn't, because it's like, you know, it's like, this sounds terrible too, but it's like you kind of look at other people getting the better results and you're like, I don't get it. Like, how are they doing
Mhm.
better than I'm doing? You know, I've got all this, you know, for me, I had all this education.
Right.
You know, Bob used to say, you know, is all this knowledge and inferior results. And that was me to a T.
Mhm.
But I just couldn't understand it. And going back to the whole point, I think to change that, it's like what we talk about. There's only two ways you're ever going to change a paradigm. You know, one is an emotional impact, and that's, you know, not usually a good thing in your life. It's usually something that forces you to make some sort of a change,
Mhm.
like losing a job or going through a breakup or a health scare, just something that forces you to alter your behaviors. You
Mhm.
know, the only other way is really kind of our methodology, right? It's like mentorship, action steps, right? And accountability. And action steps means like we got to take uncomfortable action. I really believe that's the only way that people grow. And honestly, I think that's the only way you shift your self-image, because you do the
Mhm.
things that make you uncomfortable. And slowly that starts to become that new comfort zone, right? That becomes your new point of view, your new perspective. And you know, I always tell people there's no easy way. There isn't. We all have to be willing to face that fear and do it anyways. And that's why that lesson today from Sandy on the terror barrier, it's one of my favorite lessons that we teach here, you know, because I really believe it is the key to freedom. So thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet. All right. See, anybody else have some questions? And let me see, I'm just seeing if I can see. Wilma, how are you? Do you want to unmute yourself? Oh, you're still muted.
How now?
Yep, good now. I can hear you.
Okay. Thank for this time, Chris.
Yeah, of course.
I have a question.
Sure.
I watched the video with Peter Brindley,
Mhm.
and he was talking about, think about, I don't believe I will achieve and work on it.
So say that one more time.
Think about, I don't believe I will achieve and work on it.
So think about what you don't believe you can achieve.
Yes,
Is that right?
and work on it.
Into all of what?
Work on it.
And work on it. Well, I think what he's trying to say is, you know, you face your insecurities, right? You know, this
Yes.
is like, I think one of the hardest things for most people to do is to be honest with themselves, to face our insecurities,
Mhm.
you know, and you got to find your weaknesses and you attack it. I think most people, because you hear people say all the time, you know, focus on your strengths. And I agree with that, right? You can focus on your strengths, but I think you got to focus on your weaknesses too. You know, so
Right.
like we were just talking about, you know, for you know, wanting to build the business, if you're not good at marketing, not good at sales, you don't ignore that fact, right? You got to get focus on that fact, and you got to get really good at those weaknesses. So I agree. Like you got to be honest with yourself. You got to address your insecurities. It kind of goes back to what I was just saying to EJ too. It's just like, you know, we gotta do the things that make us uncomfortable. And a lot of us don't like to face our insecurities and the things that we're uncomfortable with. But the truth is, to grow, that's
It
exactly what we
is.
have to do.
Yes. So what you suggest for me? Because during this seminar, sometimes I was busy working, and sometimes I didn't have a good connection.
Mhm.
I watched during the night, and you know a little bit about my insecurity, things like that.
Mhm.
At the moment, I think it is have a coach with you. It is the basic or the only way I got now because about my financial issues, things like that, healthy, and I just need to have some help from you, from some coach, and Bob Proctor, of course, because I know about your job. I really trust, and I'm here to hear your suggestion. What can I do? How could you help me? Because next month I will be 66, and my pension will be 204 monthly, for 204 pounds monthly. It is, it is not money. And as I work with my son, you know him, I have some health issues now. I need to work it less than before. And my chance is to do something start now, because
That's right, but you got to use that. Look, it's that the graphic that Arash did earlier during the week, where with the stick figure, like the one behind me, right, where we have that thought power that flows to and through us, right, and you can go to the negative
Yes.
or the positive. So right now, you be aware of the circumstances, right, but you
Yes.
don't think from those circumstances. You let that create some urgency to go after what you want, but you see, you don't let that control you. See, they talk about this, and it's one of my favorite books. It's the book, it's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And
Which one?
It's
Which
called
one?
The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace
Okay.
Wattles. And it's in chapter 4, I believe. I think it's the first principle in the, I think it's, what is it called? Yeah, the first principle in the Science of Getting Rich. And he talks about how you got to learn to think truth regardless of appearances. So, like, for example, when you're saying whatever you said the rent's going to go up to, see, understand that's the appearances. That's not big, it's not small, it's your thinking that makes that big or small. See, no goal is big or
Yes.
small. Like, some people will say 10,000 a month, that's a lot of money. Talk to someone else, they say, gosh, that's a horrible day. It's neither. It's just based off of what's in harmony with their paradigm. So, like, all those things, you use it, but use it the right way. Don't go to that worry, doubt, fear. Like, when we talk about creating a sense of urgency is getting a lot done in a calm, collected, cool manner. It's not a sense of urgency. Gosh, I'm getting old. I don't have enough money to live. What am I going to do? So it's a different energy that you come from. It's a different place.
I can
And
understand.
yeah, so again, it doesn't matter, like, what we're doing. It's always about where we're coming from. It's the energy. It's always tied to our paradigm. So coming
I
back full
know.
circle to what you said, look, I think everybody needs help. It doesn't matter what level someone's at. Like, we have clients that are billionaires, and we don't do $1 billion in a year. But why do these people come to us? It's because it's not just about money. It's about getting direction and getting help seeing what we don't see, because we all have those blind spots. And I was listening to the call today with Arash when he was talking about having that conversation with Bob about, do you believe that people can do this on their own? And I was actually on the plane one time it was me, Arash, Bob, and another guy on our team, Jeff. And we asked him the same question. I've asked him that question many times. And he always says, if you believe in what we teach, anything is possible, but it's not likely. Because to develop the discipline to hold ourselves accountable to do these things on a regular, consistent basis is not very likely, right? It's not, which is why, again, I think everybody needs help. They just need direction. We need help seeing our blind spots. So we can definitely help you.
Sorry?
We can definitely help you, but I'd be telling you that the same one we talked about before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
now I heard some, what forces me now to action steps.
What
I
forces
need
you?
to.
Yeah.
What forces me now to action steps?
What forces you to the action steps? Well, you want to let the desire force you to the action steps, right?
Okay.
Because again, it's like, I think for you, what we got to do is we got to get you so clear on the image as far as how you want to live, not coming from the worry place of, you know, man, I got to make more money for this rent, but like
No.
really sit down and think about, how do I really want to be living? How do I want to spend my life? You know, because you had
got-
mentioned working less. Well, listen, you can earn a heck of a lot more and work a lot less. You see, and most
Okay.
people, they know this, but again, it's not in harmony with what they really believe. It's not in harmony with their subconscious mind. They consciously understand that because there's people doing it, but it's not a part of their paradigm yet. So we just got to create the paradigm.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Tell Leo I said hi.
I tell.
All right, take care.
And you.
All right, Alicia. I think you're still muted.
Okay, I'm unmuted now, right?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay. Well, thank you for this time and
Sure.
thank you for the week. But what happens, I was never able to get directly. I don't know why. And anyway, and when I get so frustrated that I'm here ready to listen to Sandy, which I think she's terrific, you know, the way she makes the presentations, I love it, you know. I would like to do presentations like her. So I
can.
get so frustrated, and then after Wednesday, I just didn't even try again. And today, well, I do other things, you know. I have not seen any of the ones, so I always see them at night. And so anyway, so they're terrific. My problem with, but now that I listen, you know, so age is a little bit like, okay, not so strong, because I come from working only in offices. You know, I retire now from the United Nations. I have always pushed somebody else up, you know, and now that I'm retired, I realize that I never thought about myself up
Yeah.
front. You see, I usually push somebody to my younger sisters when it says, when I was a child, I've been an editor and I believe what you say, that you are who you are. I mean, there are things that you don't stop. I take notes because I'm an editor. I'm fast at typing and, you know, I'm always reading and trying to see what's wrong with, they jump onto me, you know, what's wrong in a translation or something like that. But I was able to write poems, to write like speeches, but my younger sister is the one who was able to go on a microphone and read them. My father published them, you know, went always to the local newspapers and they were glad to publish it. And that's how I became an editor. There was no career for an editor until the late 70s, actually. And but I realized that, you know, and I'm doing mentoring. I always volunteer to mentor. I go to my university here. And until now, I love it. But I know that I love working with younger people.
Good.
You know, because I like that exchange. When I volunteer at my senior center, I suggested people know, not too many people believe it. I want seniors, for instance, as a group, we should volunteer at the school to teach them art, writing poems, because those things are not taught in school. But not too many people believe it. So until now, maybe after the pandemic, my opera group, you know, I take opera appreciation classes, is thinking about that now that we maybe go back alive. Because we have a lot of things to exchange. You see, people are not exposed to a lot of good things that we can bring, but the younger people bring a lot. I learn a lot from kids, you know.
Oh, that's why Bob always surrounded himself by younger people.
Me too,
You know,
it's
yeah, you got to, like, it's there, it's a different energy, and it's not because of an age, it's an energy more than anything. But
it's a whole different thing. But they get along well with seniors. My brother in Florida has 3 great-grandchildren. And the 2 times I went, especially for Christmas time, I tell you, we went to carousels, to this, to that. And listen, 4 generations in a carousel, you know, of 3 little horses. But it's so difficult, you know. You have to make concessions. And I also think that they do, because that's the way they are educated. You know, if they give you something to drink from, I said, no, because of the pandemic. But if not, before the pandemic, if one of the kids of the family would put a candy in my mouth from his or her mouth, I took it, because I don't want that child to experience the frustration that maybe I experienced as a child from certain aunts or whatever, that they say, no, 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 you know, being refused, you see? So I would love it. I was thinking that when I listened last night to the program about becoming one of your team, fascinates me, you see, because I'm not good at marketing. For instance, I teach Spanish, but I stopped when with the pandemic, because I have not been patient enough to be searching who can show me how to, maybe I could open the Zoom account directly with Zoom, but how to be paid and all that. So I become, you know, lay down. But I realized that I need to start going up in front, you know, and especially with the system now that you can teach from wherever.
Right.
You know, and
it's a part of it is just, again, it's, you know, we see ourselves as how we see ourselves, right? So just meaning like you saw yourself as an editor. The truth is you can be whoever you choose to be, you know, but it's like we got to have the image to match that. So, you know, because it doesn't matter what the background is, right? It really doesn't matter what the background is or what we've done in the past. The only thing that matters is who do we want to be? Like, what do we want to do and who do I need to become to achieve it? And you just act as if you become that person. You know, for example, like our like with our consultants, two of our top consultants, their background, they were both nurses, you know, and both of them are earning very deep, you know, 7-figure incomes, even 8-figure incomes, when some of them were earning, you know, maybe $30,000-$40,000 a year. And well, what changed, right? It wasn't that they just got a new opportunity, right? I mean, the opportunity is all around us all the time. It's they knew what they wanted to do, and they grew into that person necessary to achieve it. And one of those people, I'll never forget this, it was during one of the, we do like little trainings just for the consultants where we all get together as a group and we all work together and help each other. We talk about, you know, what's working in marketing, what are the niches people are creating results in. So it just builds this community because you see all these people winning. And I remember, you know, this is obviously back when Bob was alive, we were doing one of these trainings and one of these consultants had done, you know, put up some incredible numbers in a very short amount of time. And Bob asked her the question. He said, what do you think it is? He said, what do you think it is that's allowed you to do so well so quick? And you could see everybody in there was thinking, okay, she's got to have some tactic. There's got to be some secret, something that she's doing. And she said one word. She said, belief. She said, honestly, I thought everybody else was doing this. So again, it was her belief created that fact. So just like the belief of how we see ourselves on the inside is what creates our fact. So, and that's in every aspect. So like if we believe we're not good at technology, we will not be good at technology, but it's just a learned skill. It's like anything, it's just learned. So again, everything is about what do you want and developing the image and becoming that person necessary to achieve it. See, that's why Arash mentioned it this week. He said the goals are never about getting, they're about growing. It's about who is the person I need to become in that process.
That was very important, you know.
Yeah.
I also believe, well, with the nurses, you know, it's like when you said believe, because that's, you know, sometimes people ask you certain questions and that's true, you know. When you explained this, it came more clear in this week is that
That's it.
by you questioning, you bring out whatever the person is. And like nurses,
Yeah.
you know, I believe you because they're so good at giving so much of themselves. I learned that's another thing that I used to teach is therapeutic touch, healing, you know, and I learned it basically with nurses. That's a technique that was developed for the nurses, you know, and even when they invited me to appear on TV and I said, no, you need somebody else because and they said, we need somebody who speaks Spanish. And finally, that's one of the biggest things I have done. They flew me to Florida, just for a week vacation, and I appear on TV, you know, but all this week I've been thinking, you know, that there are so many things that I would love to continue sharing regardless of age, because the retirement now, especially these 2 years of the pandemic, having a killer for me, you know.
Mhm.
Eating, and now I'm a little bit fearful to go out. I wanted to go to the opera tonight, and luckily I didn't, you know, because I would have bought a ticket like a month ago. I'm still a little bit afraid, but I used to go to the opera, to this, to that, and now I'm afraid to go a little bit out. And last month, when we had the first 5 days that you offer, I fell, and that's when I said, I'm not going to lay dead. I'm just going to go, not to the emergency room, but I went to the doctor and I had all the tests. I'm still going through that. But I promise, because of that week that I was listening, that I'm not going to let that make me fearful. It was raining like today, but listen, I just have to be careful, you know.
Yeah.
And, that's it, you know. But
You got to
I
do what you got to do, you know, but I'm telling you, like, you know, like age, when it comes to age, like this is like, look at Bob. Bob was such a great example. Like I learned so many lessons from Bob, not just from what he taught, but watching how the guy lived, you know. And, you know, he was 87. He was still doing what he loved to do. He was always creating. And, you know, it's because he found purpose. He had a purpose that was bigger than himself. And he loved it. But he was always creating, because not just to help people and get them to see it in a different way, because like, I'll never forget, he said to me one time, he said, look, I know I can help anyone. He says, I know I can reach everyone, but he says, I know I won't. And he said, that's on me. He said, that's just a reflection of, I need to get better. I need to keep getting better at what it is that I do. But I remember, this is, you know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, we were at an event in LA, and Bob, he had both hands. We were going down an escalator, and he had both hands on the escalator, lifted his legs up over the escalator, was writing like a kid would do. And it's because, again, like the guy, he loved life. He loved life. But it's because he was always creating. He was doing things. He was living a purpose-driven life. And I personally believe a lot of people are lacking that. They just don't know what their purpose is.
Oh yeah, you know, they can't to tell you how you dress. Like I said, I'm not going to dress in black anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Because I had
Yeah.
enough black in my life. They said, no, I said, no. I come from a country where I should be dressing in black. But I enjoy going to the beach, for instance, and now I'm not been going that much. But that's something. So I was thinking, because now this week it became more clear, you know, the two of them are great presenters, Sandy and Bob. Bob is kind of more serious, laid down. But for instance, for me, it's the first time it came to me when I told you about Sandy. Sandy is an entertainer. I can't believe that she's a lawyer who was doing negotiations, you know. She makes you
But it's
laugh.
by design. It's like I
I
said,
know.
it's she chose what she wanted to become. See,
That's
she
it,
saw
you know?
herself as a lawyer before all this too. See, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't realize Sandy was a client. Like, she didn't just partner with us. Sandy was a client. She went through every single one of our programs. She became a consultant. It was called something different back then. But, you know, she went through this material. She became a product of the product. And, you know, that's one of the beautiful things about this business is, like, as you're out there helping others, you're just helping you. You got to become a product of the product. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? So like these are principles. And that's why I tell people, it doesn't matter what you want to create or what you want to do. These principles will work with you, work for you for anything you want. I don't care if it's health, wealth, you know, relationships, fulfillment. The process to achieve any goal is always going to be the same. It's you. It's about doing the work on ourselves. It's about who do we need to become and doing the work, you know. And see, I really connect with Arash. You know, Arash, you know, DP mentioned it on one of the
It's also
coaches
so
corner.
good.
Oh, he's had more impact in my life and my results than Bob did, without question. But they're very different, right? Like
Completely.
Bob was the master of these teachings and philosophies. Arash is the one that's going to get your butt into gear, because he knows that's the only way that your life is ever going to change, is by changing your behaviors. It's about changing what you're doing, you know. So it's all good stuff. But I hope that helps.
So it helps me a lot. Is it because I didn't get to listen carefully the conditions or anything, but I don't want to take much of your time.
Mhm.
But it's okay if I ask you, because last time I said I would get an appointment with you and I never called you because of that fall. But if I get a call with you, how do we do it for next week?
Yeah, so my assistant Hader is on the line too. And what I'll ask him to do, Hader, if you don't mind, if you could put a link in my, so anybody that's interested in scheduling a kind of one-to-one, and the purpose of the one-to-one coaching calls, like these calls, is to, find out more about you, find out more about your goals, and show you how we can help you through the programs, right? So if you're interested in learning more about the programs, let's
Yeah.
schedule some time where we can do more of a one-to-one call, rather than doing it in a big group, because, the only way I can direct you towards what's going to best help you is if I know you, so I can
Right.
see kind of where you're at and what you want.
Yeah, no, and and I know that, listen, with two languages, I can help a lot of people who don't have the chance, even
Mhm.
to, I wish I would have known, about Bob like 20, 30 years ago, see, but
Yeah.
I didn't, but like Rush, the session he had yesterday, I'm looking forward to listen to it again because he's tough, but the thing also is like you said, he's an example of, what the product that can come after of this, so
Yeah, he
uh,
is tough, but he's always fair. Like
you know,
he's,
so
that's the one, he's the one that actually got me into this 11 and a half years ago. So he's the one that sold me into the coaching, 11, probably almost 12 years now. And the one thing he's always going to tell you truth. Like he's always going to tell you how it is. And, sometimes we don't want to hear that, but the truth is, I think a lot of the times it's what we need to hear. I wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't have been for that call. Like I wouldn't be,
even
I'd
the
still be
thing
working
that
on
he
TV.
explains about the reading, I said, oh my God, because that's true. We read and read. And
Mhm.
but he said, keep it on the same page because that's the message. And no, so I'll do that. But thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You take
About
care.
nice weekend.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
Betsy, why don't you drop your link to the calendar, right?
Yes, please. So if anyone does want to find out more about the programs and like how we can really help you, just click on the link and we can schedule some time. I think I opened my schedule over the weekend too. I'm pretty sure I did. Okay. How about Mirjam?
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you. How are you?
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm well. I have very basic questions.
Sure.
First, the first question, I don't know, maybe you can comment on it. I had like always this trigger about abundance. I was like, it was always abundance. It's like overwhelm.
Mhm.
And kind of now listening to the program, I found out that maybe it's that my desires overwhelm me. I'm not sure about it, but maybe that's a factor. And the second thing is that while I was thinking about my C-type goals, it's a very personal goal. And I just know that it's very, very important for me to feel deeply connected to my loved ones.
Mhm.
It's like, that's like the most important thing for me. And yeah, maybe you can comment on that. If, I don't know, I felt like.
I would tell you go deeper with that, like that. So if you thought about that, like deeper connection to your loved ones, what would that look like? So I would paint the picture, right? So just meaning I would write this out in as much description, as emotional words as you can. Does that, because we got to get an image, right? So like for me, when you say that, like an image that gets created in my mind would be probably different from the image created in your mind from what you're thinking. So, this is why we always talk about the importance of setting clearly defined goals that are measurable. And it's done for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it gives your subconscious order. It gives it a real clear target. Number two, we used to do an event here. It was my favorite thing that we did. It was called the Matrix. It was so, I've seen absolutely amazing things created at the Matrix. And it was a 6-day event that we used to do up in Toronto, where people would come and mastermind directly with Bob for 6 full days, where they would come in with ideas of things they want to create or things they want to do. And we would all mastermind together, figure out, okay, what do I need? What are the connections? And just by the time we'd leave there, everybody know exactly what they're working towards. They would have the executable plan, and the connections to help them get it done. And going back to the whole point is, see, if we don't have an order in our mind where we can clearly explain that to somebody else and get it clear in their mind, we don't know how they don't know how they can help us. And one of the days we would take it through a process where everybody would have their goal, but they would have to get it in a very short, concise method where they could explain it to the rest of the group, where everyone could get that same image in their mind so they knew that how they could help people. And that might sound very easy. I'm telling you, that day was crazy. People would be crying, freaking out, saying, oh my God, you know, maybe this isn't what I really wanted, because it's not as easy as we think. See, we can picture it in our mind, but you got to get it in a way in which you can get it into others people's mind. So I would tell you, for you, if it's a more connection with your loved ones, I would write this out in a clear, as descriptive format as I can. Get like, what does that look like for you? Is it where I'm talking to everyone every single day? Are we going on vacations together? What does that really look like for you? Does that make sense?
Yes, okay, and it's still a worthwhile C goal because it's not oriented in, there's like no money into this.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be about the money. Like, it doesn't have to be
Okay.
about the money. You know, if
Okay.
that's what you really want, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
Doesn't, you know,
Okay.
if that's what you want, that's the key.
okay.
See, for us, the money goal is just an easy thing to talk about,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Like, if I said my goal is to find more love, like, how does that, like, how someone else will have a totally different understanding of what that means. But if I
Mhm.
said I want to earn $100,000 a month, right, helping people achieve their goals every single day, that's something that you can get in your mind, and you might be able to help me with that. So
Okay, okay.
that's why a lot of the times that we talk about our money, and a lot of the times financial goals allow us to achieve a lot of the other goals that we have for ourselves. And I do believe everyone
Okay.
should have a financial goal. I really do.
Okay. And what about the other thing, that abundance triggers overwhelm for me?
I would change the word then, you know, use a different word that
Okay.
more relates to you. Because
Okay.
again, it's just like we give meaning to that, right? Somebody might like that term. Like, I actually never liked the term manifestation. I hated that term. Like, I just felt it was so overused, and it just, to me, it was very woo-woo, you know, so I never used that manifestation term. But somebody else, that might be huge and very impactful for them.
Okay.
So again,
Okay.
it's just what you give more meaning to.
Okay. But so just to know, so a word like growth or something like that
Yeah.
would carry the same meaning.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like when
Okay.
you write this out, like whenever you write that out, use emotional words that connect with you. Like
Okay.
like I said, manifestation, and it doesn't, like, I'm not, this is just for me, like manifestation just does not connect with me. I didn't even like the term life coach, right? I still don't like that term. So I never use it. I never called myself a life coach. But that's for me. Someone else, they might say, oh my God, that's what resonates with me. This is actually a really good point, because I have, like, our consultants, people ask me, well, what do I call myself? Am I a coach? Am I a consultant? Am I a facilitator? Am I a speaker? You call yourself whatever you want. You call yourself what resonates and connects with you, you know, because again, even our consultants, they're expressing their energy. They're using the teachings, but they're expressing it in their way. So just meaning, we're not trying to make clones of Bob, right? We want people to be authentic, and they got to be themselves, because that's what people resonate with. Because I think if, you know, you try and pretend to be someone you're not, you're never going to connect with that. So even with the word abundance, like, I wouldn't be using that when you do your writings or your affirmation or any of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't use that word, because if that brings up any kind of negative thoughts in your mind, just it's a bad thing to incorporate to your daily disciplines.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, guys. Anybody else have any other questions before we wrap it up? Let me check the chat real
So we
quick.
do have a couple of questions in the chat box as well, Chris.
Okay. Do you want to read them off real quick?
Sure, yes. You know, so like Danny Evans said, how do I create the abundance to attract the money to do the program?
How do I create the abundance to attract the money? money is an awareness. Okay, so that's all it is. So you got to start, like I always tell people, because a lot of people want to do our programs, right? Do the different things with us. And they say, well, I can't do it because I don't have any money. And number one, I tell them that's a very dangerous thing to say, because you're just implanting the wrong idea in your mind anyways, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever seen the frequencies. Like, have you guys seen the lines where Bob talked about let these lines represent vibration frequencies? Well, think about it like this. If you let one of those lines represent a frequency, you put a dot on there, let that dot represent your life today. It's where you're living, it's your results, it's where you're at. Well, that result is a reflection of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. See, and let's say you want to go do something like do one of these programs, but immediately say, well, I can't because I don't have the money. Well, all you're doing, you're keeping yourself stuck on the same frequency of where you're already at. Do you realize if you just change that, if you just said, instead of said, I can't do it because of, and change the question, how can I come up with the money to do this? You automatically start to switch yourself onto the frequency of what you desire, right? And if you stay on that, you keep asking, how can I come up with the money to do it? How can I come up with the money to do this? You stay emotionally involved in what you want. It's not just about money. It's like you have a business idea. I want to do this, and say, I don't know how to do it. See, same thing. You're keeping yourself on the same frequency. Change the question, how can I do this? And everything you do, you study from that place of that goal already achieved, you will find the way. Because the truth is, there's never one way, there's many ways, and there's always a better way. And I'm telling you, I am a prime example. When I did this 11 and a half years ago, I was broke. I was very broke. I wasn't just broke. I had no credit. We had nothing, right? Because I had gotten myself into some trouble financially. So I had to do debt consolidation. I was in the worst financial position of my life. And when I was on that call with Arash, he said, this might sound bad. I said, there's no way, I can't afford to do this. And he said, look, the truth is you can't afford not to do this. He said, look, I don't care if you do this or not. He said, I really don't. He said, if you do this, great. If not, no big deal. It's not going to affect my life, not going to affect Bob's life. But he said, if you want our help, you'll go find a way. And I think me being at that kind of rock bottom place, and not just money wise, I could have gone back and found another job and earned more money. I was at a point in my life where I was so frustrated with what I was doing and how I was living. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew what I was doing wasn't what I wanted to do. I think that frustration, I finally used it to my advantage to push me and take some action. And I ended up borrowing that money, the original money, from my brother. And, anybody that knows me, I don't like to ask people for help. And that's not a good thing. So that was a very uncomfortable conversation, but I really think that worked to my advantage, because there was not a chance in hell that I was not going to pay him back, right? I was going to do whatever it took. And I'm telling you, that's the mentality you got to develop. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what you want to create. All the excuses that we have are just what's in harmony with our paradigm. And we got to learn to catch ourselves when we find that, like when we do it. We all do it. It doesn't matter, all of us. I do it, everybody does it. But you see, the better you get at catching yourself and putting yourself back on track, developing that mindset of success all the time, that becomes your new paradigm. And guess what? You got to change it again. And like I said, it's not about getting the new goal, it's about the growth. I remember back in the day when Arash wanted to get to 1 million, then he got to 1 million, and when he get to whatever, 5 million a year, whatever it was, it didn't matter what the goal was. It was the growth. It's the person that you're going to become along this way. So that's why I say those C-type goals, those big goals, those are good, because that's going to force you to grow into something really big. You got to become something greater. The small incremental goals, look, I think anytime you're going to grow is a good thing, but I think a lot of the times if we set these little small goals, there's no oomph, there's no like strong push or desire to achieve that goal. It's like, if I said I want to lose 5 pounds, like I know I can go lose 5 pounds. Like there's no inspiration in that goal. So this is why I think you got to find, whether it's more connection with loved ones, money, I don't care what your goal is. It's just got to be something that really connects with your heart. So I hope that answers that. Were there any other questions, Hader?
Yes, so we have, Teresa asking, how much is the Inner Circle program?
So Inner Circle, there's two options for it. There's a 3-month option, which is basically 10,000, and then there's a 6-month option, which is 18,000 for 6 months. And then both have different payment plans where we can break it up.
And he just said, wouldn't Bob have said that first the decision must be made, then the money will be found?
100%. But decision is not through words. It's never through words. It's always backed by actions, right? So like if I would have told Arash I'm going to go find the money and didn't go look for solutions, that's not a decision. That's a hope. That's a wish. That's a really good point, EJ, because I think that's where a lot of people live. They live in hope. And I'm not saying hope is a bad thing, but hope without action is just dreams, right? You got to execute. You got to act on it. Cool. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to meet with us today. I hope you guys found this beneficial. You know, if you do want to schedule some one-on-one, go ahead and click on the link and we can find some time. And then otherwise, have a great rest of your afternoons, days, evenings, wherever you are. See you guys. Take care.